For us to even assume that I'm Lord Mayor, I'll go and get into that office and do this. One, we understand that's why public administration is different from other administration. It is a profession in its own, because the way you manage is that you have, it's a bureaucracy. Government is a bureaucracy. Right now we are campaigning. Work at City Hall is not at a standstill. We have people executing work, and by the time the next Lord Mayor is sworn in, the budget process would have been over. So you'll work with the budget that this term of office has approved already. So for someone to be knowledgeable about the intricacies of running a bureaucracy and being part of it is what is key. And there is a strategic plan for Kampala across board. It's already in place. It was launched. So my job would be to acquaint myself in the first 100 years of what is on table, galvanize the energy around City Hall to work as a team.
Yeah, but I hear you. But let's get back to what I asked. I'm talking about how will you make sure that you'll improve the flow of water and prevent flooding within the city? People are looking for a lasting solution to city floods and to make sure that all these primary channels are upgraded so that whenever it rains, it does not disturb them to move from one place to the other. Look at the arcades when it rains. Look at just at Clock Tower. When it rains, you need a boat to cross over to town.
Yes.
How are you going to make sure under your leadership all this is sorted out?
Like I said, the programs and schemes are already in place, but the synergy is the one that has made us have those problems perennially. And the one thing is my greatest point is to give back the work to the community first. Most of these solutions lie with our people. In Kampala, there are villages before you go to City Hall. There are LC1 chairmen, there are LC2 chairmen. There is the Parish Development Committee, which is redundant right now in Kampala. These drainage systems don't pass through City Hall. They go through these parishes and villages. So these people know where the problem is, the point is, but I think there's been a problem that whenever there is flooding in Kampala, it's an opportunity for more loans. But the solutions are local. And when you consult with the people, they'll be able to say the floods affect us. Can we help us? Let the technical team from KCCA and the greater Kampala Metropolitan, because you cannot solve the drainage system without the greater Kampala Metropolitan. Wakiso should be involved. Mokono should be involved, because the drainage areas have no borders. So I think that should be galvanized, and as the Lord Mayor, there should be the goodwill to concede and say, okay, the chairman of Wakiso, what can we do? How can you galvanize your technical team to work with my technical team? You have also to liaise with the ministries. Ministry of Works, NEMA. You have to be someone who is a focal point, who can galvanize, who can build synergies across sectors to have the drainage problem
Okay,
solved.
Thank you, Honorable, for that. I just want to let you know, as viewers, that there are residents of Kampala in our second studio listening to all of you, and there are also millions of other people watching. So just to let you know, we selected a few people, and they are in our second studio. They are watching and listening to your views, and maybe if time allows, we'll give them an opportunity to ask a question or two, because they are the kings of Kampala, kings and queens of Kampala. They are the people that you want to represent. They are the people that you are working for. Let me get to you, Mr. Kawaya. So you, let's say, the budget has been passed, so you have about 774 billion shillings. This is actually money that is allocated to make sure that we improve the drainage here in Kampala. Nachivubo Channel, Lubiji Channel, Nalukolongo Channel, Nakamiro Channel, Mayanja North Channel, Nalubago Channel, Mayanja North Channel, Chinawataka, Kansanga Gaba Channel. All these channels are almost blocked. I would say they are blocked, and they cause floods within the city. How are you, as a political head, you're going to make sure that you solve this problem? People live in a city where they do not need boats to cross to go to their workplaces in the morning.
Thank you, Canary. By the way, I was excited to see you interview our president. I can say you made it in life.
Thank you.
Exciting, and well done with NBS, with the new studios. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Being in such a place. I am a digital expert. And part of the thing that I intend to do is to use my expertise in technology to create a connected city that is interoperable in some sense. With the theme of digitizing Kampala that I'm running with, the first aim is to make sure we create a smart city in every sense of it. And drainage comes in handy. Well, the first thing that I'll have to do is, it's one thing passing the budget and another having the money, because they're two different things. Usually budgets are passed and then you say 700 billion, which is roughly about some 200, is it 200 or 20, $220 million, yeah? And then before you know, you have no money. I mean, you have no money to run that. So part of the things that I want to do is I want to make sure that using the digital rails that I'm going to create is we use a consensus-driven approach to make sure that as we think about drainage, we make sure we rethink the drainage network. Yes, the channels have been established and they are known. They are all dirty, they are drained, they are stuck, nothing happens in them. But I mean the drainage issues of Kampala are not fully Kampala issues. You noticed maybe, I think it was in May, when we had drainage all around Uganda. Lake Victoria was full and all that was happening. There's a dam that is being constructed in Ethiopia and water cannot go at the same speed anymore. I mean, there are many things that are happening locally and internationally, and they are part of the things that affect the kind of ecosystem we live in. But as a Lord Mayor with a budget, one of the things I am able to do is I am a well-connected Ugandan, not to Uganda, but to the world. And like I told you, I have capacity to make sure we have the foreign direct investment made in Uganda so that we don't strain the Ugandans. So to make sure that actually drainage is sorted, once we have rethought the networking of the drainage system, the next thing is I am going to look for money that is not borrowed through my international network of players in financial technology.
Where is this money going to come from?
Yeah, I was saying through my network of financial technology investors who believe in making sure that when financial technology changes lives, it changes them not only using technology, but also changing the environments they live in.
What do we call that, a donation?
There will be grants, there will be investments for people who are interested in having digital advertisement. We can use the channel and have advertising space with digital screens and all that. So when someone invests money today, 10 years down the road, they will make back their money effectively. And I'm the only person here who is able to convince them. Why? Because I'm a part of the network and I'm influential in the same network. And secondly, I understand how we can meet between the old world way of living and the new digital way of living, and most importantly, the new norm of COVID.
Mr. Koya, I appreciate your digital solutions, but that does not solve the terrible drainage problems we have in the city.
No, Canary, it solves. Maybe I have to go a little bit in depth and tell you that once we have the money, because the biggest problem is having the money, and like Honorable mentioned that she talked about loans. Of course, we have debts. We're even incurring a number of digital debts in Uganda lately by investing in technology we don't know.
Yeah, but the money is already there. I just told you that actually, when you look at the master plan and how much money was allocated to it, it was estimated to a cost of $208 million US. That's about 770 billion shillings.
Yes.
Let's say the money is there. How is the question here? How are you going to make sure that these drainage problems are solved?
Yes.
One would want to know, I want to cross over from the Katanga slum here in Makere down here and cross over to downtown without any issues. Then we'll look at the traffic jam later, but first, the drainage problems. Because in there, of course, the drainage channels breed a lot of mosquitoes that in the end affect the health and lives of the people living in those slums. So people want to hear of the solutions.
Exactly, that's what I was saying. But I am a person that solves problems when there is nothing. I mean, I would not want to start from a point of saying there is money, because like I mentioned, Canary, the budget is passed, but sometimes the money is not there. So I want to think like any other administrator, any other public leader that thinks of having a solution created, but also making sure you think of where you're going to get investment or the money or the resources to make sure it is done. But like I said, the first thing that has to be done is we have to rethink the drainage network. And part of the things that we're supposed to use with our digital rails is creating location pins and understanding drainage to its depth. Because you can be talking about Nachipufo channel without understanding the entire other connections that relate with the same channel. And I mean, if you solve one problem and leave other connections that lead to the same channel, you've not solved the problem. In the end, the dirt will come back to the same drainage channel you've created. In the end, so many things will happen. People will still go and throw rubbish in the same drainage channel, and it will get blocked at some point in time. So by creating pins, I mean, I'll make sure that every single location that is supposed to contribute to clear drainage of the city has location managers, for example, that are digitally managing it and making sure they update the city. So when we have the constructions done with other stakeholders and different consultants that have done these things in other places in the world, we are able to actually make sure that we manage these infrastructures and they run for a long period of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Kaziwe, as I said, let's get into the real issues. When you look at the user facilities such as markets, taxi parks, bus parks, parking towers, public toilets, and other recreation facilities like the green gardens of KCC around Kampala, there's a problem. All these facilities are not affordable, but they're also not reliable.
Yes.
How are you going to solve such a problem? When you look at the modern markets that KCCA has built, most of them are not affordable to a common man and woman who would want to put a stall of tomatoes or onions to sell and get 1,000 shillings to take their child to school. So how are you going to solve this problem?
Well, the problem is very simple to solve. The first thing is we have to harmonize between the technocrats and the political side. If you look at all the markets, the structures are built from people who live campus, people come from Harvard, and just plan to make a market that looks like one in America. But if we got the real market people, the local market people, look at a market like Chibuye. People buy more goods in Chibuye market than Wandegea market, which has taken a lot of money. So if you look at the technocrats, for them, they don't know the locality of the markets they're building. Right now, if you look at, I'll give you an example of Wandegea still. 4th floor, that's where they're selling charcoal. It is wrong. Charcoal is supposed to be on the 1st floor, whereby someone to lift for you to put in your car or the pickup or anything does not cost you anything. That is one. If you look at the arrangement of how they made butchers in Wandegea market, you cannot put 45 butchers in the same place. I'm grown in Kampala. One butcher can be like 900 meters away from another. But in Wandegea, the butchers are just like an arcade. Same. What the product they're selling is the same price.
I hear you, Mr. Kaziwe, but are you now going to demolish the market?
You don't demolish.
What happens
there are
then?
changes you can do to that. First of all, if we talk to the technocrats, changing the system down, like Wandegea market, where you have stalls of butchers lined up like 45, try to create something that will have, give chance to other people to do different stores. Because for them, what they did is they created butchers in one line, they created where they sell fowls in one line. So we can work with the local tenants in the market and ask them what is the best way we can do this thing. Because the Kampala's problem, people who plan for Kampala do not understand the problem of Kampala. If you look at the markets, the parking of Usafi, you have to go around to the parking of Usafi, you find a taxi park. So there is no way a poor person will make money if the market that was set for 6,000 shillings is owned by people who already own shops in Kampala. So if we revise what is happening, there's a policy that that market was meant for poor people. 6,000 a month. Now what is happening to that market is because of the road coming from Katwe, there's no way you turn to enter into the market. So you'll find that a few buyers or few customers that will come to the market are the people who live around. So that is one problem. The problem could be solved by talking to the local people, the people who work in those markets, relate them, harmonize them with the technocrats who plan the markets so that we localize what we're doing.
Okay,
Though we-
and the problem of affordability?
Affordability, simple. There are supposed to be 72 markets. And the funny thing, KCCA is owning 17. That is already a problem. If KCCA can own more markets in the 5 divisions, they can create markets where we can have a cheaper rent. What is happening in Kampala right now, if you look at markets like Nakasero, when you privatize a market, the people know their problems as the interest rates and everything. That is why they put the rent high. So if KCCA provides some land where the poor people will manage to work, I think that can be the simplest thing to do.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me get you, Mr. Senkuge. So there is an ongoing debate about a market bill, and it is being fronted by the workers' members of parliament. They've been going around consulting, and they want to end monopoly of local governments that they have in running of these markets. What's your take on the bill, as someone who wants to lead Kampala City?
Yeah, involvement of the stakeholders is key. Involvement of the stakeholders is very important. For example, a market in Kasubi was built and commissioned, but still empty as we talk now. Because people don't know the culture, the buying culture of the people of Uganda. They don't know the ways of life of the ordinary Ugandans. Me, I know that people, Ugandans are shy, whether Langi, Baganda, Ankole, I don't know how it came about. If you put something in front of them, they will buy. If it takes time to enter a shop well arranged, they shy away, the majority. That's how it is. So markets, those closer to the people will sell. But if you want to convince these people to go to these built markets, you have to be very organized. Look at Wandegear. The market closed down Wandegear. It became a downtown. Yet Wandegear was vibrant because the heartbeat of that city, that town, was the market. But they turned it the other way, and life lost completely. Life lost completely. Whatever it takes, whatever it is, we must sit down and discuss with the people we are planning for. But I don't want to go away without talking about this sewage problem. Sewage, I've already talked to a Malaysian company, and they say, and I know, that sewage is money. Sewage is power. Sewage is gas. We don't use that. Or our sewage is collected to Bugolobi for fertilizers. But we can generate electricity. We can generate gas. And these people are willing and ready to do it for Uganda, and then we pay slowly afterwards. It's a Malaysian company. We talk about drainage. These plastic bottles and plastic bags are a problem. The drainages are blocked by these. What I want to do is to make it, when you finish your bottle, when you finish taking your water, there will be a fight for those empty bottles, because they'll be being bought back by manufacturers and making other plastic items. That will be cleaning up the drainage system. You widen them a bit. The National Water and Sewerage Corporation does not reach every part of Kampala. And that's pathetic. Even in Makindi, there's no sewerage corporation. What happens? The sewage goes to a septic tank and it's not utilized. If you plan well, and it's possible, there is a lot of money in Kampala, a lot of money in the Republic of Uganda. You organize and you turn sewage into a electricity generating project. You turn sewage into a gas, and it's possible.
Okay, and as you unleash your plan of solid management, there's money that has been allocated to solid management and actually recycling. There's a plant that has actually been in plans to make sure that it's built in Dundu. It's built so that it's completed, and all such plans of drainage channels, solid management and recycling are completed. But why do you think this has taken such a long time?
No one to push it. The Lord Mayor is supposed to be a negotiator. someone talking to the power, to the members of parliament, lobbying to the executive director. You cannot be fighting the people you're supposed to be working with. The Lord Mayor is supposed to be talking to the executive director. Our people in Kasato are saying ABCD. Why don't you talk to government and we do ABCD?
Okay.
Yes, lobbying. Thank
you, Mr. Senkuge. We now take a short break, but when we return, we're going to look into other issues of the terrible roads in Kampala. We're going to look at issues of ordinances, issues of infrastructure, all that after this short commercial break. This is the Big Talk. Good morning.
Big Talk, hosted by Kanare Mugume.
On 106.1 Next Radio.
Keep the conversation alive at Next Radio UG. Hashtag Young Power.
Yellow beat.
It's a Fudgy remix. Double sin. Twice upon a time, I got my phone. I put him busy, and then I said, I have time with it. So I called my friend. Fast come. Did you know?
Did you? Yes, it's MTN at 00, the 4G remix. Dial *150*10 hash or visit my MTN app to load daily bundles and double your MPs on your 4G line. Everywhere you go, MTN.
That means more fire! What is up? What's it that we need?
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Plascon premium brands have evolved with new designs based on global trends while maintaining the heritage of the blue smile and strong Plascon logo. The quality inside the tin is now reinforced by the image on the outside of the tin. WeatherGuard, Vinyl Silk, and Vinyl Matte now come in new plastic buckets. All the designs are clean with product descriptions to help our customers select the perfect product. Plascon, color your world.
As Uganda goes to the polls in 2021, Daniel Lutaya, political reporter, will be reporting live from the Political Command Center.
NBS. Always.
During COVID-19 and as the world moves online, girls and young women are increasingly becoming more exposed to online violence. This Sunday, 11th of October 2020, as we commemorate the International Day of the Girl Child, NBS Television will broadcast a live e-conference starting at 2 p.m. under the theme, Freedom Online, and will feature panelists including Honorable Judith Nabakova, Minister for ICT, Iveta Ofri, Country Director, Plan International Uganda, Dr. Sabrina Chitaka, a mother, senior pediatrician, senior lecturer at the Department of Pediatrics, Makerere University, Zahara Nabakoza, Girls Child Rights Advocate, Tina Musuya, Executive Director, Center for Domestic Violence Prevention. Don't miss this e-conference. Stand with girls against online abuse. This message is brought to you by Plan International Uganda with support from Government of Uganda and partners.
Getting back to work. Here are a few steps to protect you and your co-workers. Avoid handshakes, door handles, and wash your hands after every move. Be careful. Do not touch your face. Read all the communication health emails from your company. Make sure your desk is always clean. Keep social distancing between you and your co-workers. Use video conferences. Digitize. Try working from home. It's the new trend.
Uganda Chamber of Mines and Petroleum, in partnership with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, have organized the 9th Annual Mineral Wealth Conference under the theme, Mineral Value Addition and the Future of Mining, where discussions will be focused on the contribution of the mineral sector to the industrialization and the status of Uganda's mineral sector. The keynote speakers will include Professor Charles Kwesiga, the Executive Director of Uganda Industrial Research Institute, Honorable Sarah Opendi, the State Minister for Minerals, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, and the guest of honor will be His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, happening on the 14th and 15th of October 2020 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. live on NBS and streaming on all social media platforms.
Yellow beat. It's a fudgy remix. Double sin. Twice upon a time, I got my phone. I put him busy, and then I said, I have time with it. So I called my friend. Fast come. Did you know?
Did you? Yes, it's MTN at 00, the 4G remix. Dial *150*10# or visit my MTN app to load daily bundles and double your MPs on your 4G line. Everywhere you go, MTN.
What? That means more fire! What is up? What's it that we need?
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Big Talk, hosted by Kanare Mugume.
On 106.1 Next Radio.
Keep the conversation alive at Next Radio UG. #Young Power.
You're still listening and watching The Big Talk. Today, we just decided to switch things, get out of the radio studio, get and expand the space here so you can listen to the views of the candidates for the Lord Mayorship race. And you decide, it's up to you to decide who you are going to vote. In the studios today, I have Honorable Nabila Nagai Sempela standing on the NUP ticket. I have Mr. Kawoya Innocent. He's an independent candidate. I have Mr. Daniel Kaziwe, also known as Ragadi, standing, of course, on the ticket of NRM ruling party. I also have Mr. Senkubuge James, who is standing on the ticket of the Democratic Party. Now, just want to let you know that your viewers are actually going to be posing questions to you as candidates. They want to know or they want to ask the most pertinent issues that do affect them. So in the next few minutes, I'll be talking to them so they can pose 1 or 2 questions to all of you. Be general questions, and they want to understand what you want to do for them. But let's get into the issues of the roads. I'll begin with you, Honorable Nabila Nagai. There's a number of terrible roads across the city. Potholes have become the new roads inside our city center. How are you going to make sure, with the money allocated to infrastructure and KCCA mandated to do some of this work, how are you going to make sure that this is achieved?
Road infrastructure in Kampala has greatly improved over the last 15 years, coming from the onset of the KCC Act and the increase in revenue and government direct funding to KCCA. However, like I said, our roads are greatly affected and ruined in the short time by the drain waters. When it rains and the water flow does not have, the appropriate drainage. In Kampala, the problem is not roads per se. It still goes back to the drainage. You realize when water passes through a newly constructed road, within 2 months, it's done. So culverts, the drainage system should be the key to maintaining, because maintenance is key. You make a road, and then within 2 years, it's drained out. You can't raise the money because sometimes the lifeline of a road should be 10 years. So even before 5 years, it's done. So it's like a treadmill situation in Kampala. So The good thing is that as the Lord Mayor has the simplest job. The simplest job. Everyone who is in place to work is there, starting from the executive director and his or her team. The division mayors, they also have a role to play. The councillors, the whole synergy of LC1 system.
You've been in Kampala since 2006. As a member of parliament, you have a supervisory role. And would think that some of these issues should have been worked on under your reign.
Like I said, the first 100 days of a mayor sets the pace. Everyone is looking at you, right from the technocrats who are right now in office. Actually, they are following this debate, watching us, saying, okay, what's the attitude of these people who want to come here? They are watching you, reading your mind, listening to your words. What approach are you going to work as a team with them? Because they're already there. You're not going to appoint them when you go into office. Then the division mayors are also in the race. They want to see somebody who will work with them as also elected mayors of the division.
Yeah, but Honorable Nabi, I'm asking about your time as member of parliament. You had a supervisory role. How come these roads have not been worked on? What is the problem?
No, let me tell you. Like said, government is a bureaucracy. To assume that a member of parliament is going to assume the roles of councillors and council is illegal. What you need to do is say, is their budget passed in parliament? That has been my role. Appropriation. And I think we've done a good job to see that the budget of City Hall is actually passed as is.
You were absent during the debate of the amendment of the KCCA Act. How can one be sure that you actually understand?
I wasn't absent, sir.
You were absent?
No.
When we look at the Hansard, some of the issues captured from the, for example, Shadow Minister for KCCA, Honorable Betty Namboze, Honorable Muhammad Insek was there debating. One would think that if you want to work for the city like ours here, you would be well positioned to debate the issues.
Actually, I got a detailed write-up to the Presidential Committee, which handled the act. Talking about it without contributing to it. Actually, I've been contributing to the amendment of the act since 2011. I was the first to point out that we needed to separate powers, the executive and legislative powers at KCCA. That's where the problem has been. And when you see somebody saying rule of law, democracy, rule of law is separation of powers. And the fusion at City Hall has been the problem, where the Lord Mayor has been the head of the legislature. So in case someone wanted, as a councillor, to propose something and maybe they're against the Lord Mayor, he would be the one in the seat.
Yeah, but you focused on, as members of parliament, not you specifically, focused on the personality of the person who is in office and the infights that were going on, not actually the roles of the office. And therefore, that's the intention of the amendment of the act. Don't you think, as members of parliament, you went wrong on that?
I'll say this. The law was changed in 2005. We went to parliament in 2006. And the ascension to the act was in 2011. But the law has been in place. As somebody in office, when you go for campaigns like we are doing, you're campaigning under that act, that law. It's like someone being appointed like at NBS. The conditions and terms and conditions in your appointment letter, you cannot reverse them just because you've accepted the job. So this act has been in place since 2011, actually since 2005. So for you to campaign, that means you've known that the roles of the mayor and knowing that you're going to also work with the minister and the central government. That is not something that is new, that was sneaked in. So by us even nominating right now, we are nominating under the KCC Act. So it would be actually very absurd for us to continue driving the narrative that the law is bad, but you've seen it, and you've chosen to nominate and work under it.
Okay. Having taken away powers from the Lord Mayor, and now you've created, as members of Parliament, this is what you did in Parliament, created another arm where you have the Speaker and chairing council meetings. Do you think that there's much the Lord Mayor can change inside the city?
What I can tell Ugandans is that the Local Government Act that is operational in all the districts, slightly, it changes into authority. But the role of the ED is the same as the town clerk in any other municipality, or chairman of a cow in another district. Actually, the impasse that we see in City Hall is possible in a district like Nakaseke. If the person of the chairperson of a district or a mayor of any town council does not know that you're going into a structure, your role is to put input of the people to that office. So I realized that the first 100 days are very important for an elected leader. Your tone, your attitude is being studied by those already in office. So when you have a combatant attitude, they already know, okay, we are going to, ignore this person. We are going to mind our business. This person is not going to work with us.
So are you ready to work with the government?
Of course, the people are there. Like I said, a Lord Mayor does not appoint his workers. A Lord Mayor does not appoint councillors. You don't appoint the technical people, neither can you dismiss them. So your role as you nominate is clear. You are going to fit into the bureaucracy, but your role is to harmonize them.
So you are saying, as a member of National Unity Platform,
yes,
you are going to work with the government, you are going to work with a minister for Kampala appointed by the president, you are going to work with the executive director appointed by the president and everyone in the city hall to make sure that you bring harmony and deliver what people in Kampala want.
Canary, my president is going to be in power. Why should I be worried about working with him?
It will be my president.
So I think that is
I know it's 100% Museveni.
So I think for me, that is not even a worry. Why should I be worried that my president, Kyagulanyi, is going to be in office and I'll work with him? I'm working with him.
Okay, great. That's great optimism. But under circumstances that status quo remains?
I think we should not dampen the mood of Ugandans. They want to see change across board, right from the president to City Hall. So there will be a new president, new Lord Mayor, new dispensation.
Thank you, Honorable Nabila. To you, Mr. Kawaya, that about 2,100 kilometers of roads here in the city, but only 28% are paved. What reasons are you going to give to push for the increase in the funding for the pavement of these roads?
Thank you, Canary. As you may see, my fellow competitors are all partisan. You may notice. And we're talking about Kampala, that is the capital city of the Pearl of Africa. And it's supposed to be the center of development of the nation. And as I come in with the development agenda, I know very well that KCCA is not living for the first time, and it has a strategic plan that is in place. And part of it that I have read is really a good one. I recently witnessed the appointment of the new executive director and some technocrats, one of whom I know personally, Engineer Sally, that has contributed to the amazing change and transformation of infrastructure in Uganda, partly the Ginger Bridge. And I am not a civil engineer, so I'm not an expert at engineering, but people went to school. They're experts and they live in Kampala and we're not making use of them. Some of them have been employed in KCCA. But like I noted, that I am not partisan. I'm a very independent individual with my team, and I believe in development first. And part of the things as an expert public administrator that I always do is I know how to lobby and negotiate. So I have to make sure that the development of the road infrastructure is done in collaboration with everybody that is supposed to. The Ministry of Works, what is it called? UNRA, yeah, and any other agents that is supposed to be a contributor to the development of the city. But in a broader perspective, Kampala right now is not the only city in Uganda We have had the creation of 6 more cities, Masaka, Hoima, and Bali. And Kampala is supposed to be turned into a model city, one that inspires others to be able to become better cities that employ more people, that create more opportunities for the people. And road infrastructure is very key. So I'll make sure that part of the things, and my attitude is always, when I come into a place that I didn't create or own, the first thing is to make sure I create harmony with everyone that is there, so that we are able to work together, influence change, share ideas, and contribute to the development of our city.
People have talks inside City Hall, and theirs is not actually to decide the allocation of money, which money goes where. That role is for the members of parliament, like Honorable Nabila Nagai there. You are a Lord Mayor. You have not much powers to decide how much money should go where. Even if you advocate for increase of this fund, it's up to the executive to decide whether this money should be allocated in infrastructure or not. Your powers as a Lord Mayor are limited. If you could kindly explain how you're going to push for this.
Kanare, thank you. Our power is always seen in different perspectives. And one of the things I am expert at is always changing the narrative of thought and perception of thought. I mean, I'm very sure I have done enough reading of what the role of the Lord Mayor is. And maybe to keep it to a record, I am maybe one of the very few people that have stood for Lord Mayor's seat, and I've had a plan for 16 years. I first declared to my colleagues in 2004 that I will be standing for Lord Mayor of Kampala in 2021. So I've been planning and learning every single day. And I mean, when creation of a new seat of executive director and a new ministry for Kampala, I mean, came in because there was a partisan leader, politician, who had no idea about how to lead a community like a capital city. And I mean, maybe for limited understanding, I'll tell you, Kampala is already under control under the local government, and it was supposed to be guided already. And for the little understanding I have to make sure that I negotiate and lobby everyone to buy in with the people's agenda. I have to convince all stakeholders, the executive director, the minister of Kampala, the minister of local government, and all the other stakeholders, the expatriates and the technocrats, and convince them as the leader of the people to make sure that what is done and implemented in Kampala is intended to serve the residents of Kampala.
Okay. You're an independent candidate. Which president or which leader of a party are you going to support for presidency?
I am an independent candidate, but I'm also an important citizen of this country. I deserve to understand every single leader's agenda and get to make a choice. But I am very happy with the new wave. I am happy that I've contributed to the growth of my brother Bobby Wine, for example, in his career as a musician. So I'm very happy that he's actually taken a new toll. And I'm happy for many other people.
Is that a candidate you're going to support?
No, I didn't say that's a candidate. Like I said, I need to hear everybody tell me what they are going to do for us as Ugandans. I have seen there is a young lady called Nancy. I have seen there many others that are coming in. I need to be sure until when they are all nominated and make a choice.
So you're not decided
they are not nominated
until they are nominated?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, contrary to the two candidates here, Honorable Nabila and Mr. Kawe here, you are on record saying that whoever president goes through is the one you'll work with. I thought maybe you'd be optimistic that you would support President Mao.
President Mao is going to win. But in case
but you're on record, 5th of October here, saying that.
Yes, but in case he doesn't win,
saying that
does that mean the end
you are
of the
comfortable
world?
working with whoever?
Yes, the Lord Mayor is supposed to work with whoever sits in that office. The good thing is
we not decided.
The good thing is we vote the president first. In case Norbert Mao does not win, I run out of the race.
So there is a chance that Norbert Mao might not win.
If we go for a race, there are three alternatives. One you win, another one you lose, another one you pull out.
Like you did in 2001.
You keep on bringing that back. Let me answer that. Let me answer that so that you don't bring
Exactly,
it back.
because
In
as
the
a
law-
leader, many people would think
in
that
the law,
you are a coward. Why
in
would
the
you
law-
pull out of a race?
In the law, there is what they call double jeopardy. Just hold on. a matter of less judicata. You charge someone twice for a crime already paid for. I stood for presidency because of issues and factors beyond my control. I opted out. Immediately after, I ran from Busiro. Busiro, people love me so much, Nakauka. But people told me, we are not going to vote you because you promised us presidency and we ran out of the race. I accepted the verdict and I served it, so don't bring it back.
So you're here, you're running for presidency, then you pull out, you go for Busiro, then you lose, you go for Lord Mayor. Can you be decided for once?
And win.
You're not decided.
I'm decided. I'm not going for Busiro. No, I'm not going for Busiro.
That's what
I'm not
saying.
offering myself for presidency.
So I'm saying that voters would call you a coward. You went for presidency, pulled out.
I've already answered
You
that.
went for Busiro, member of parliament.
And I lost.
After you lost, you say, I cannot go
Am
back
I the
there.
first person
Now you're
to
for
lose
Lord
that
Mayor.
election in Uganda?
You're not the first, but...
Am I the first person to lose and win thereafter?
No, it seems like you are looking for a job other than
I'm
leadership.
not looking for a job. I'm not looking for a job. I'm in my retirement. I retired very early from radio because I had done enough. Now I'm working as a general manager of a TV. I'm well paid. Why am I contesting? Because the same people, those people who love posturing, who are still in the race, I'm here to offer a sober alternative. I'm an old man. I've been in this city for 40 years. I know how people live. I know how people travel. You are talking about the high corporates and whatever, but I'm talking about the common man. People walk on foot. Nothing's done to think about their problems. People, the way people sleep in slums, you jump dead dogs, dead cats, mouse here and there, mosquitoes flying like whatever.
So are you going to provide beddings
I
for them?
want to enter that office and lobby. I know the powers were cut, reduced and whatever, and lobby. Talk to the members of parliament, talk to the executive director, talk to the president that these people of Kampala need a life. They have to enjoy the city. If you don't enjoy your city, where are you going to be?
Okay, the other disadvantage you have is that you are running on a ticket of Democratic Party, a party
Is
that
it a
many...
disadvantage?
Let me tell you why.
This city belongs to the Democratic Party.
Let me tell you why.
When you come back from California, it seems you are not
Let me tell
a
you
resident
why.
of this city.
Let me tell you why.
Yes.
It is a disadvantage. The party is shrinking. It's in its
Why?
evening
Who
days.
tells you this?
We can look at the members of parliament who have left recently to go to Honorable Nabila's party.
These seasoned politicians are ever on the move. I'm not a politician. I'm an administrator. And I want to bring my expertise. I was trained. I was made and trained by the people of Kampala. They know me. I'm their friend. I've lived with them. We've suffered in this city.
The party is shrinking.
It's not. How can you say party is
Would you
shrinking
say-
when it has brought a former presidential candidate as a road mayor? That is the power. Excuse me, that is the power.
A party that members of parliament have pulled out in the last year of 5 years.
They are coming
and
back.
went to NUP.
They are coming back.
You still think Democratic Party
What
is...
is the space?
You
Read.
still think Democratic Party
Yeah,
is a
but
party
that's
to
the problem.
stand with?
Why do you charge me for crimes committed by the other politicians? Not me. I'm telling you, by being accepted as a candidate for the Democratic Party, a former presidential candidate, Charles James Senkuge, someone with a name in Kampala for 35 years, without blemish. You cannot blame me for anything. Clean.
The name you have is
as
not,
linen.
the name you have is not for leadership. It's for drama
Yes.
acting.
Yeah, that's why I offered myself for candidature. Otherwise, my grandchildren will ask me, what did you use your name for? People loved you and you betrayed them.
Okay.
I'm offering them myself for candidature because I know I'm loved. I know I'm sober. I know I'm clean. I know I will make a smiling Lord Mayor. And once the Lord Mayor smiles, the city smiles.
How big is your church, Mr. Senkubuge?
The church, it's a small community church, Gospelite Independent Baptist Church.
When was it begun?
I've been serving in that church it began in 1994.
Someone who cannot grow a church for 26
What do you
years.
mean?
For 26 years, cannot be trusted to lead the city.
If you don't know matters of the church, don't talk about them. How do you judge a church that this one's big?
No, as the leader of a church, at least we should see growth.
Some are built as small community churches.
Your first description,
where everybody knows the friend, and that's what we want.
Your first description of the church was it's
a
small community church.
Yeah, we've got
for 26 years.
We've got community. It's not small. No church can be small.
You're the one who described it as small.
Even if it is too, but
you're the one who
it's a local community church. We've got a branch in about 12, not even 12 branches across Uganda. Even one in Arua, where government is housing the COVID-19 people, is part of Gospelite Independent Baptist Church. And you call it small. You think a big church is because of the numbers? No, it depends on the arrangement.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Senkubuge. Let me get you, before I get you, Mr. Kaziwe, let me get to Mr. Kawaya. You have a disadvantage that the people you are running with, look at the incumbent, look at Honorable Nabila or Mr. Kaziwe or Mr. Senkubuge. You are a very young person who needs to be tried and tested. Yeah. Many would think that perhaps you need more time to learn about leadership and maybe invest more time in technology, and at a later stage, you can offer yourself for leadership.
Thank you, Canary. What an amazing platform to actually tell people I've been a leader since I was 9 years. Of course, I'm dealing with celebrities. Jaja Ragadi was always that person that played on our TVs. I used to call him Sergeant Mpima, our legend. And Honorable Nabila is quite celebrated, a woman that I've followed for 20 years since I was in my P7. And I know we have a chance, before I even talk about the other details, we have a chance to campaign. We have a chance to speak to the electorate and tell them what we're able to do and change Kampala into a better place to live in. And I'm going to make use of that chance, first of all, to make sure I campaign and I win all of them, including the incumbent. Secondly, about the leadership bid, I'll tell you and the viewers of NBS that Innocent Kawoya has more than 17 years of leadership experience. My leadership journey started way back in P3 in my primary when I contested for being a head boy. And I didn't win. I got 37 votes, but I was made head boy for 3 days in my P3. And ever since that time, I have been learning as much. I have been able to communicate and relate with some of the biggest leaders in the world.
Yeah, but some of the qualifications to stand as Lord Mayor is not whether you stood as head boy or not.
No, I'll tell you, leadership is a process. And I'll tell you, I have been learning and growing every single time. I was going to that. I want to tell you, for example, when I started preparing my announcement for mayorship, I did consult a number of global leaders. I did consult a number of people that have helped in major campaigns. One of the people I consulted was a lady that led in the fundraising for Barack Obama's campaign. Yeah, consulting different people to understand and ask them to evaluate me as to whether I have the right qualities to be a leader. I have been meeting and being questioned by different senior leaders of our country and senior citizens to see and to interact with me and see if I have the right leadership qualities.
So what makes you a uniquely qualified candidate for this race?
What makes me a uniquely and what will make me a winner come the election time is that I am the only candidate that is having not only the understanding of the problems and the challenges of people in Kampala, but I am closely related to them. And more so, I relate with the 70% of the population in Kampala.
I was looking at your profile here and I see that you are at the helm of High People Awards. And these are awards that are not celebrated countrywide. These are awards done in Kampala, and at some point, people started questioning the credibility. Others were calling them Bebe Cool Awards. If you cannot grow a small enterprise like that, why would anyone trust you with a city?
Canary, how can you even ever say that I cannot grow a small enterprise? The High People, a company that I have led, as CEO for the last 8 years, is a multinational. One of the very few companies in Uganda that started as a website and today sits in line with Google, with Microsoft, with the Gates Foundation, and we discuss global issues, yeah? I have been able to lead a company that has changed and employed thousands of people.
I'm talking about the credibility of these awards. If I'm talking to Ragadi and call him an award-winning artist, because I know that he's won Palm Awards, I would not say that he won High People Awards because the credibility of the awards is lacking.
I'll go there. When you talk about credibility and when you say you called them Bebe Cool Awards.
I said,
did you say that? Yeah, I'm saying we went to court and sued whoever called them Bebe Cool Awards, and we won and we were paid for the same reason. Why? Because the integrity that we hold and that I hold as the leader of the company is very clean and sure that the things we've done are meant to only make sure we transform lives in Uganda. Yeah, you have all the rights, and anyone has the rights to call High People Music Awards unsuccessful. But I'll tell you, we are the only award in Africa that is still standing for 9 consecutive years. And next year, we are going to be running a decade of awards. And no one has done that. Cora, call it MTV, call it Channel O, they are not there. No one has run for 9 years. And we are going to do a decade.
The impact of these awards to the people giving to them, the artists, it cannot be traced.
Well, when you call it the impact, if someone and hundreds of them name High People Music Awards on their CVs, that's impact already. I'll tell you, Canary, everyone in this world has a right to evaluate. But I'll tell you, if because of High People, today Uganda has more than 10 million views of content that is brewed in Uganda online, then you cannot underestimate.
This is money going to you, not to the artists?
No, I'm saying it is money going to the artists, but it is our role, and it is my leadership that made sure we have this gained.
Okay,
it is my leadership that made Ugandan music be respected in Nigeria. It is my same leadership that sees artists that made 1 billion views on YouTube celebrate Ugandan music and respect it.
Thank you, Mr. Kawaya, for your views. Before I get to the questions, let me give time to Mr. Kazwe here to elaborate. What ordinances in KCCA do you think need to be passed to make Kampala a better city?
Well, first and most, one thing that should be done is I think we need to digitalize everything. And the Triple H, harmonize, harmonize, harmonize. See, there is a lot of intrigue. There's a lot of infight in KCCA, where I told you that the technocrats are thinking a different thing and the political side is thinking a different thing. I'll give you an example of you saw the problem of the taxis and the borders, where they told them that borders have to leave the CBD. I think they did not consult enough to know how many borders are in Kampala. If we are saying we want to employ people, we want to try to look for what people can do in Kampala, you need to know by digital registration how many borders work in Kampala. That is one. Two, the technocrats started saying, a stage of a border could be 800 meters away from each other. 800 meters are 2 football pitches. Now just imagine a Crane Bank. From Crane Bank to Pioneer Mall, that is not even 800 already. Many people are employed, self-employed. They fall under the informal sector. And their problem today is the technocrats take the people who have invented their own jobs as people they have made. I'll give you an example. The borders had about 2,000 stages. And 3 months ago, they said they want to make about 500 stages. Now, we are talking employment, they are talking unemployment. These people that they are going to chase away, they have not planned where they are going to put them.
Mr. Kazwe, the city runs on policy.
Yes.
And policy formulation.
Clearly.
I asked you about ordinances. You are shifting a lot of blame to the technocrats. How, for example, are you going to regulate taxi and border operations in the city? How are you going to make sure that there's reorganization and proper licensing of street vendors?
I told you, if you digitalize everything, if you register how many hawkers are working in Kampala, you'll know to plan for them. That is one. If you know the number of border riders, no one knows the number. It was 6 years ago when they tried to register all the border riders, and somewhere it ended. Before the lockdown, before they allowed the borders back on the road, they had said, we're going to register everyone. It is never done. So if you register these people and digitalize everything, just like the musicians, I'll tell you, right now, everyone is going to be registered, and they know that that's the musician in Uganda. Today, the planners of the city do not know how many hawkers are in Kampala. All they do is arrest them, take them to court. But there is a problem, and they're not looking at the problem. What causes these people, these numbers to increase? The numbers increase because the rent is so high, the markets are so expensive. And then look at these people and then plan for them. We can make cheaper markets for them. But before you make cheaper markets for them, you need to know their numbers. So the thing I'm talking about, digitalizing the registration, digitalizing the permits. You've seen the buildings falling down in Machindi, near Calendar Rest. The reason why this happens, no one knows what is happening in Kampala. Everything is done under the table. If we knew that permits are digitalized, I would just go and punch in a few digits, and then I know, oh, there's a building in Machindi going to be built by this construction company, it's owned by this person, and this is the function of this building. Now, if we do not know the data of what we are governing, that is the first problem Kampala has. Okay. They don't know how many taxi drivers are in Kampala. They don't know how many taxis are in Kampala.
How does knowing the number of taxis solve the problem of
it helps you to know what you're planning
and
for.
And the crime perpetuated by people who ride on borders?
Yes. Now you see, if you know the number of people you're dealing with, it gives you time to know, if I know the number of borders, are they more than 300,000? Have I had any clinic to tell them these are the do's and don'ts? The problem in Kampala right now is the border man comes from the village, buys his border, it becomes his job. Now, for you who has not planned for him, it is very difficult for you to say, stop riding, because he has already paid duty. The only thing you have to do is to put him in line, give him clinics, train him. Know that I'm going to train border riders in Machindi, going to train borders in Kawempe. Okay. No one knows the number.
Thank you, Mr. Kazibwe. Yes. We're now going to listen in some of the questions that are coming in from our studio 2, and let's begin with Nsibuka Haruna. They have questions for you.
Thank you, Kanare. My name is Nsibuka Haruna. My question goes direct to Mr. Kazibwe, Mr. Kaoya, and Mr. Senkubuge. I appreciate the fact that there have been leaders or different managers elsewhere, but the fact is Kampala City would require leaders who have been really practically participating within the leadership of Kampala. Either they have taken part in the state hall, either they have taken part in parliament, so that they can really understand the gist of Kampala and the system of the governing system of Kampala. So my question is, will they be able to monitor, to make the oversight, and also to make the checks and balance with such a less experience that they have exposed to us or that they have narrated to us? Thank you very much, Canary.
Okay, before we answer the questions, let me just move the microphone to Christine.
Christine.
Thank you, Canary. I'm Christine Dushabe. My question goes to Honorable Lady Nabila. For the 10 years she has been in Parliament representing us, the women, with clear examples, let her tell us what she has done for the women in Kampala, most especially the women in markets, because I, for one, am a product of a woman in the market, and I don't think even my mom knows her as a woman MP who represents her in the Parliament here. That's my question. With clear examples, please.
Okay, and then move the microphone to Chirabo Marion.
Yes, thank you, Canary. My question goes to Charles. And he has been talking about the fights in KCCA and the fact that Lord Mayor Lukwagwezo is fighting and all that. But I would also want to point out, and a thing that I would take to other panelists, how are they going to balance the interests of the common man and the policies? Because we saw during the Musisi era, when she tried to implement things like decongestion, then there were repercussions of having hawkers chased away from the streets. And then you want to decongest the taxis and the borders, but then you're creating unemployment for those who you're chasing out of. So you want to build these roads, and then you have to evict people from their land. So how are you as Lord Mayor? You're protecting the rights of the people who are voting you in power, but at the same time, you then have to look at how then do you beautify this city and make it up to the standard of what a city is. So what is the solution in there? What is the plan that each of them have to balance those two?
Okay, and then we'll receive the last question from Prosi Natkunda. The last question.
Thank you, Canary. My question goes to Honorable Nabila. How are you managing and building people in Kampala, their trust? Thank you.
Okay, maybe just one more chance to Akampura. Also has a question, just the last one.
Thank you so much, Mugumi. Kampala, capital city, is the leader of other cities, but also for the entire country. We know that 60% of the GDP is earned here. We know that it also has the highest concentration of population. And research shows that in 20 years from now, 60% of the population of this country is going to live in urban areas or in cities. So aside from Honorable Nabila, there was lack of clarity from the candidates in as far as the vision of Kampala, capital city, as the leader of this nation is concerned. I consider, or many young people and Kampala citizens consider Kampala, capital city, and the position of Lord Mayor as a prime position, such of big influence on the economy, on the governance of this country. Kampala is the heartbeat of the nation. So I would like to hear from every candidate their clear vision of this city going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We now ask the candidates to answer the questions. First, I'll ask Mr. Kawaii and Mr. Kazwe here. And Sibuka Haruna asked, how will you be able to carry out monitoring of government services, yet you have less experience in governance of Kampala? I'll begin with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like I started my address, I made it clear that I'm in this process, first of all, to make sure I learn. Yeah? For any institution, new or old, when you come into it, you're supposed to learn how things are done. Of course, I'm being coached by those that have served in different places around the world and in Uganda for a long time. I am not taking, and never will I ever take, Kampala for granted. A place where there are more than 100,000 people who for the last 2 years, their job is looking for a job. I cannot take it for granted. So in any kind of situation, I will make sure that I use the information resources that are available to use the shortest period of time, maybe 2 months, to learn whatever I don't know about governing Kampala. But for the fact, like I mentioned,
as you conclude,
as an experienced leader in public administration and one that has changed so many institutions, I'll make sure I use my experience of managing and governing people to transform Kampala.
Okay, Mr. Kazibe.
Well, it's very simple. Before anyone started anything, they would never be in anything. My brother Charles has not been a leader before, but he can be a leader. Madam Honorable Nabila has been in politics for a long time. But if we see that there are problems in Kampala, that means that we need new people to come and try to think about what they can do as a change in Kampala. I'm a learned person. I have a master's in business administration. Kampala needs a person who has a business mind, not a political mind. Because Kampala is the heart of the business of Uganda. All the roads lead to the greatest banks in Uganda. All the roads lead to the greatest companies in Uganda. So Kampala needs a person with a business mind. That is one. I'm a business person. Kampala needs a person who understands it. I'm born and bred in Kampala.
As you conclude.
Yes, as I conclude, it is very easy for anyone to lead Kampala. But one thing that you talked about, monitoring is done by the technocrats. If it is to do anything, a political head is to be the mouthpiece of the people, to understand the pains of the people, to harmonize them with the technocrats.
Okay, Mr. Senkubuge, Chilabo Marion asked, how will you balance the interests of the common man, protect their rights as humans, together with the development and the congestion of the city, knowing that such a process includes using a very iron hand?
Yeah. You cannot stand for such a big office without research. I've done my research and discovered that we can use the city for 24 hours. Research shows that some people are willing to work at night, downtown, on the streets of downtown Kampala, from 7 up to midnight, or even till morning. We can leave the city for the class AD during the day, but in the evening, I want the commoners, those people selling mangoes and avocado and charcoal, to occupy the city in the evening.
Really?
Yes. On one condition, because I've seen it done elsewhere, even in London. They know it. These people are well traveled.
You want people to sell stuff when people are out of the city. Who will buy them?
No. When the white-collared people are out of the city, these people will be entering the city to work.
Sell them to who?
To themselves. Because these people, they don't sell to you.
That's not realistic.
You don't stop your car to buy mangoes on the streets. But the people who would like to do that, and when you start it, people will buy it and enjoy it. What do I mean? You give space to these people, they pay a small fee to KCCA, you use the fee to lighten up the city, then you tell them, if you want to occupy this space, clean it after work, so that these people are doing the white-collar jobs, these people owning arcades, find the city streets clean.
And what Marion's question is, how are you going to make sure that you ask these people, like the way you want to say separation of this labor, that people work in the night, others work during the day, how are you going to ask them to do that, and yet most of the business is actually
you talk to them, even I'm very sure, even the
without violating
even the white-collar job people would be waiting for the markets to open. I'm very sure. But people are not earning a lot in Kampala. So I mean, when you open up for these people, you are opening up development for the entire city. How can our capital city be working for 12 hours only? The city is in darkness. The city, because we don't have facilities, we don't have incentives, we don't have people working.
As you conclude.
We don't have people working. So my answer is simple. Give space, make sure that the city does not work for 12 hours. I will ensure that the city works for 24 hours and we all, the rich and the poor, enjoy the space.
Honorable Nabila, you have been, it's a question coming in from Christine, in Parliament for 10 years. Actually, you've been in Parliament for 15 years representing the women. She's asking, what have you done for the women in Kampala, especially the mothers in markets? Because she says she's a product of one of the mothers in the major markets in Kampala, but they have no idea you exist.
Okay, what I can say is that my biggest vote comes from the women in Kampala. So it is a trust stamp from the women in Kampala that I'm serving them well. You know very well that when I just entered Parliament, my first scuffle with police came because I was creating a feedback mechanism in the markets of Kampala, so that the women and other vendors in the markets can give me feedback, and I understand their issues. I've worked with the Chibuye market, Ndeba, traders, different women groups in markets and across, because vendors are all over. I've been working with CIANET, and that is an NGO that works for the women vendors and the rights, because we've seen women being harassed, manhandled by enforcement, and we're trying to see how these women's rights are not abused by anybody in enforcement.
Okay.
So I think that one is for sure. It's a very good thing that she asked me. And as a business center, Kampala is for business. I led in this term of office a quest that culminated into a resolution of Parliament against foreign petty traders in Kampala, because that is one of the causes of mass unemployment in Kampala. Our people are traders. They eke out a living by, maybe going to Chikubo or buying something, but you realize that some so-called investors have come in and they're set up shop where our youth are supposed to be working. You'll see somebody who came in as an investor, big investor, is selling, like charcoal somewhere.
As you conclude.
So as I conclude, I think the people of Kampala need community first. They need a mayor who will be with the people, not up there. I'm a grassroots community worker, and that's why, I have so many projects that include the girl child. People know we have a girls club in Kasubi. We have a girls club in Ndeba. We have a girls club in Chitintale. We have a girls club in Chanja, in Komamboga. We have all over 50 clubs that nurture, and most of those girls are children of market women.
Okay. KCC and UPE schools in Kampala are poorly facilitated. How are you going to create an environment where these schools can compete favorably with the non-KCC and private schools that have the right facilitation and the money?
Kampala City has a brand name. Like I said, the job of the Lord Mayor is the easiest. There are partners that are local, people who are willing. And actually, I think Jennifer Musi had started a program where partners were working with our city schools, UPE schools. And I think I would want to encourage that to continue. I'm not going to the office of the Lord Mayor to fight progressive policies. I want to just reinforce them, enhance them, and also build more synergy around people who can give back to society.
Okay.
Many people, like companies in Kampala, would want to work with our local institutions. So someone who is willing to encourage that in partnership with government will go a long way to make this city a better city.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for tuning into the Big Talk. Hit Maker is up next with Super Chidaka. But since it's a music show, I'll request each one of you to request a song so it's played in the next music show. We'll begin with you, Honorable Nabil.
The song, I think I want Shiba.
You like Shiba?
Yes.
Nice. Kawoya.
Play for me Number One by Bobby Wine.
Nice. Rogadi.
I like my song.
Which
Nalu.
one? Eh?
Nalu.
Okay. Sekubuki.
Nkusabira nnyo by Pastor Bugembe.
Okay, thank you all for tuning into the Big Talk, and it's been an amazing show. Let us know what you think actually about the candidates and their views here, and the hashtag on Twitter is #NXT Big Talk. The conversation continues online, and we'll be right here next weekend on Saturday 9 to 11 to bring you yet another conversation from another race. My name is Kanere Mugume. Good morning for now.
Message yo mukwano gwo yatuuka kulwa mukwano gwonna kyuka the feeling nga yatuuka message yo yatuuka message yo mukwano gwo yatuuka put a gun them you the band them your water body baby show them me like to feel your body like I play them nengamba ne mikwano jange rabayo guy ye go your pain tanza siga ko karanti sawa kola konga wali wondo
Talk, hosted by Kanere Mugume.
On 106.1 Next Radio.